This has been my favorite sniper of all time in Battle Royale, and it has finally arrived and saved the world. Now that this railgun is at the palm of my hands, with 5 of my weapon superchargers, this thing is jacked and juiced up. Before we get into the third rail overview, I would like to point out some things that will possibly happen in the next couple patches. First note, the specific 6 perk of all these weapons have the 15% health that kills husks instantly is still currently not working. That's a bug for sure. Second note says some of the perks of Shooting Star, which is the submachine gun of the invasion set, don't work, like the magazine size, reload speed, and fire rate. The Pulse Pounder's critical rating and crit damage don't work as well. That's the second bug with the perks. The third note is we are soon getting a patch for the Plasmatic Discharger, according to the Reddit post, in which we found a lot of issues and bugs with it. I did mention one in a recently uploaded video about this particular weapon, that it questionably doesn't have a weapon class. Hypothetically, not classifying itself made it possible for its projectile to be able to break the horns of the Storm King instead of using melee, which ignores the intended way into playing a Mythic Storm King match. And because of this bug existing, the second part of my Mythic Storm King guide video is technically sabotaged, and I speculate a patch for this might not happen immediately, so unfortunately for people who are waiting for part 2 of my Mythic Storm King guide, we'll have to wait longer. The second bug they mentioned is that the projectile stays on a player structure for a period of time. It was supposed to disappear by the time the plasma ball hits a structure. Works well on ground and objects, but not that, so this is another bug to look out for. The last one is the usage of energy cells and chunks of damage. For sure it was not intended to use only 3 energy cells. At this current state it is way too powerful and cheap, so basically, by the sound of it, this is more of a modification of the weapon than a nerf. I think the discharger will still be powerful, it's just that it will cost more cells, have the damage do about the same, I think. And I just found out that the perks on it actually don't work, and I fairly guess it was an issue that correlates with the weapon class. So if it were to be patched as an explosive weapon, it will most likely fix the issue with the perks not working properly on the discharger. And that's the final note. This is all we have found so far when trying out the new invasion weapon sets. If literally any of these weapons are soon to be patched, including the dysfunctional perks, I don't mind covering the weapons again, so as long as they are fixed, I can properly showcase it once more with a working weapon instead of it being bugged. Now that is all out of the way, we might find similar issues that were found from the previous weapons. This railgun, of course, might have a couple issues, I get it. So let us take a look at how it works, the available perks, and perhaps maybe getting the right loadout for it. The third rail is obviously a sniper rifle. It fires a single shot that is forceful enough to pierce through objects. Think of it as another obliterator or a xenon bow, but at some point it only goes through a single structure or object, so the bullet doesn't really go as far as the 2 said weapons. The good thing about this weapon is its crosshairs and accuracy. It will always shoot deadly on the center of where it's aimed. The projectile that is being shot with this weapon has no fall off even with damage, so without losing that, the damage per second presumably does not take into account when you charge the railgun up. This weapon is, however, a sniper that shoots a devastating red beam, so you can fire it either by charging it fully or for a small amount, but depending on how you charge the railgun, the damage differs. When aiming down sights, you can see the charge bar on the left side of the crosshairs. When you charge that bar fully, it fires the beam itself, in which you are unable to hold it longer. But if you release it halfway, it'll fire a beam but not at its max damage output. It's kind of the same functionality as in Battle Royale, so nothing much has changed drastically. But what changes we'll see here is the available perks the third rail can have. Let's start with what perks I have on this weapon. The weapon is locked on energy, of course, critical rating and crit damage. The hit chance stat went up to 41%, in which that is actually pretty high, with 410% critical hit damage. Reload speed, because reloading it takes nearly about 3 seconds, a little too long in my opinion. And damage to missed monsters at the 5th perk, and our 6th perk here is the broken one, and I'm not spending another core reperk. Since this is a railgun that shoots a beam, the freeze 6 perk would not make any sense into having it implemented on a hit scan sniper. Like, no one would really like to shoot a single target about 4 to 5 times for a couple minutes just to have that perk activate the freeze status effect. The shield one would work better because you only need to hit an enemy and it restores your shield without requiring to eliminate husks. The one we have now is at this point a dead 6 perk, as explained before if you have watched the previous videos of the invasion set. So we can take another look on this again to see what other perks we can put into this railgun. You can have double crit damage, that's a nice thing. Triple damage is also possible if you prefer dealing overall damage more than crits. Oh, there's 2 magazine size perks on 3rd and 4th slot of the perks. In all honesty, I don't believe that this single powerful shot super weapon needs magazine size. I may have tested this in Ventures before its release. At some point it had magazine size. I cannot confirm this, but the perk doesn't work. Just like the shooting star, somehow maybe the fire rate perk as well does not work good on this sniper. This is a beam weapon after all. This fire rate perk might not help charge the sniper fast enough. It just doesn't really function nor even fit well on a railgun, so those 2 perks will definitely need more adjustments like the rest of the invasion set weapons. The damage and crit stats does work though, unlike the discharger, so instead I just built it the way I usually do with other of my schematics. Now that I also supercharged the railgun, it should perform far more greater. So now we looked over the perks of the 3rd rail, including the broken ones we have to go through. I would definitely have a loadout that will make this railgun hit as hard as possible, and hopefully it works better than the plasmatic discharger. On the commander lead, we have Rabbit Raider Jonesy. His perk is increasing sniper critical damage by 225%, a very big number for a crit build sniper. Blast from the Past being our team perk for more health and survivability, Saurian Might for a small bonus weapon damage depending on your health, and Saurian Hide for added armor. In both of these, Dino Heroes activate the team perk Quick Scope to increase sniper damage by 17%. That's my Supercharged Redline Ramirez in support. Locked and Reloaded perk here is somewhat replaceable because of how the railgun functions. It takes a while to reload and charge up a little slow as well, so that 15% weapon damage buff after reloading will not stay if you're taking that much time to shoot a sniper. But since my railgun has reload speed perk, which it turned down to half of its actual reload period, I have enough time to keep the buff and deal a good amount of damage after reloading that fast. And the last in support is Coconuts, of course. The reason why I picked Rabbit Raider over Redline is because of the fire rate of the railgun, as explained before when we checked the perks. Redline Ramirez on lead buffs overall damage by 17% and fire rate by 45%, which will not do as much work with the railgun other than Rabbit Raider. He increases the crit damage by a vast amount, so his perk is definitely the best choice for lead. And I did said before about Locked and Reloaded perk being replaceable. It's pretty much if you don't want to have the reload speed perk on your 3rd rail, you can possibly use Chaos Agent if you don't want to bother reloading too many times. He is very useful when it comes to reloading weapons that take a while to get its clip filled up once more. And by the way, you can just treat this support spot as to whatever hero you would like to place here. You can have more armor perks, more range damage perks, add a status effect perks, pretty much a variety of heroes you can place on the support. It's just that I personally recommend the Chaos Agent because it does take a while to reload the railgun without the reload speed. I even dared to say I want to test my supercharged 3rd rail alongside with the plasmatic discharger in one of the mythic Storm King fights that I'm willing to run. That will most likely be a separate video, and I'll let you guys know how it all went for sure. It's a railgun for a reason. Its beam should go through anything. It has to include the Storm King himself. So anyways, very fun weapon in both Battle Royale and Save the World. Whenever the railgun comes back to BR, I will grab that thing like a Chad in seconds. Like I said before, these invasion weapons are just initially released. There are still some bugs they have to monitor, and I am glad I can cover each and one of them. I am down to overview them again after they get patched fully, so keep an eye of that notification bell, of course. Also, let me know what you think about this railgun and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourself and love yourself.